really need more around. Just a simple thing of life.
This is your boy Homiletix, and I'm on my way to pick up my co-pilot for the first episode of Bending the Corners with Homiletix. Stay tuned.
Ooh, that donut easy. What's happening, man?
What's good? What's going on? So yeah, everybody, this is my boy Brian Shaw. So we about to bend a few corners and get up into this interview
Yeah, man.
of his own restaurant here in the area. But also, what a lot of people don't know is Brian also gives African guided tours. So before we elaborate on the restaurant part of the interview, I'd like to just ask Brian maybe like a few questions about these African guided tours, something that I'm interested in and something that people have asked me about. So Brian, could you just tell us a little about these African guided tours and how they came about?
Wow, yeah, I'd love to talk about this, man. Honestly, it's a long story for how they came about, but I'm gonna try to summarize it for you listeners.
Okay. Cool.
Make it real quick. As a young man, I've always been a Pan-Africanist, descendant of Marcus Garvey and that philosophy, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So I wanted to go back to Africa myself. I spent time in a couple of different countries, specifically Tanzania, Egypt, Morocco, and a little bit of West Africa, including Senegal and whatnot. And so I wanted to give people the same opportunity. When I got back, I had a completely mind-blowing experience. That was actually the motivation behind the restaurant first, because we wanted people to see something different about Africa. And then when people would come in, a lot of them would really be interested in my experiences, and they wanted to know more about it. So I ended up going on some speaking engagements and setting up some events to talk about it and set up the sort of, give people a feel for what they would be getting into. And one day somebody just suggested to me, like, look, what if you were to lead a tour, I would definitely pay for that. I said, you know what? That's a darn good idea.
Wow.
I definitely know how to set it up. So I went about setting it up and set up my LLC to make it happen.
Could you tell us a little about maybe if somebody just off the blank just came to you and they wanted to take a trip to Africa, an African guided tour? Could you give them the different packages, the different prices, and what that experience would entail with that price range and where they would be going, the living arrangements and things of that nature?
Okay, all right. There are 4 packages right now. I've given them a sort of generic name, but basically we're gonna go with,
I got you.
We're gonna go with Ghana, which I call the Sankofa package. We got Morocco, which I call the Sahara package.
Cool.
Next we have Tanzania, which is called the Swahili package. And lastly we have Egypt, which is called Sun Gods.
Okay.
And each of those packages, they can all be broken down pretty much the same. What we're going to do is start off in one of the major cities, probably a capital city. For example, in Morocco, we start off in Rabat, or we might start off in Tangier. And then we're going to visit a lot of the highlights of the country. We'll be going to several cities within one country. We'll probably be taking the trains so that you can get a feel for the local transport. A lot of people, when they imagine Africa, they imagine there ain't nothing there. And they're going to have to take horses and camels.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm like, nah, man, look,
right.
I'm going to show you what it's really like. You're
right,
see the airport, and then you're going to take a train and really see it's not that, it's not as different as you would think.
Very civilized, very modern.
Right.
It's not what you see on TV and what the media is showing you.
Exactly. We're not even going to stay in hotels.
Right.
For me, I try to organize everything in local accommodations, meaning, and for example, in Morocco, we can stay in either a riad, which is more of a bed and breakfast with their local version of a hotel.
Okay.
Or we'll stay in an Airbnb. Man, I love this story. This was a true family investment. We wanted to create a legacy with this business, but we also wanted to provide something that wasn't being offered everywhere. It was it's a part of that whole, wanting to change the image of Africa. Like I said, I was saying earlier, I was living in Africa. My mom was living here. She had visited me a few times in Tanzania and Morocco and different places that I live. But she was living here in the States, and she said, man, she got back, man, I haven't had anything as good as that tagine from Morocco.
Okay.
I really, really love that, you know. And so I went, found the spices for her, said, okay, I'll send it to you. Boom, here you go, you know, and spices so she can make it. She found a tagine pot and looked up the recipe and said, okay, I'm gonna make this, da-da-da. So then the next thing happened, I'm in Tanzania. Man, I really haven't had anything as good as that pilau rice, you know, that coconut curry or whatever it was, you know. So I did the same thing. I would always go and find the ingredients. And, you know, it really started off as a boutique. And when I say that, I mean we were mostly selling retail goods. I would get the spices, but also I would get clothes, I would get jewelry, handcrafted goods, you know, and send those back, and we would repackage them in the nicest packaging we could find, and you know, offer them to the people to buy it. And then the pandemic hit, and when the pandemic hit, it, you know, it changed up the whole game. A lot of people weren't looking, especially for clothes and jewelry, because they weren't going out to events. But they were looking for experiences, especially culinary experiences, to do something different. You know what I mean? You can't eat the same food at home. You can't go out. You know, you want to do something different. So they started looking for unique food. And we said, you know what, we can provide that. We have the spices. We've made them. We've tasted how it is made in the country that it's from. You know? Now, being that we're in America, you know, we recognize there's an ocean of difference between our tomatoes.
And, you know what I'm saying? The flavor and everything. I get it.
You know, things are going to be a little bit different. So we definitely made sure we chimed in and added that Afro fusion portion, because things are going to be a little bit different. And also, African Americans, we have slightly different taste buds, slightly different texture preferences, you know what I'm saying? Things like that.
So, because she's not here, I still want to plug your mom as well. So, I want you to kind of tell them the role that your mother played in the restaurant as well.
Oh, man. It's an interesting story. I'm talking about Dr. Vanessa Berry.
Right. There you go. I
gotta make sure to give her a full
that's right. You know that's for sure.
She's a traveler, a lover of experiences, a foodie and whatnot, and she her degree is in health communication, so she focuses heavily on the nutrition aspect of it, making sure that it's something that is actually going to be beneficial.
Wow, I love it. Now you have a nutritionist on board in your restaurant. How many restaurants have the luxury of having a nutritionist on board with them?
Yes,
that's awesome. I love it.
And she makes sure the food is 100% nutritious and it's genuinely good for not just the soul, but for your body.
There you go. I mean? There you go. No saying. Hey, I got it. Say less. Say less. Okay. Good. Good.
So yeah. And she, you know, she was also she's the administrator. She pretty much, while I was in Africa, like I said, I'm sending this stuff back. And she got the restaurant built out and started. So we had the full aesthetic and the place, the physical location set up even before I came back to the States.
Okay,
and I was able to just kind of hit the ground running.
Last but not least, could you please tell everybody how they can find you across social media, and maybe your location and the area of town that you're in, what you're located by as far as a landmark, so they can try to find you if they want to reach you about your restaurant and your African guided tours.
All right, man. Yeah, of course. HALISI Africa is located in between FAMU and FSU and beautiful Tallahassee, the capital city of Florida. You can find us on Instagram at HALISI Africa. And let me tell you, HALISI is the Swahili word. It's spelled HALISI, HALISI Africa. All right. You can also find us on the website using that same spelling, www.halisiafrica.com. If you go through our website, either HALISI Africa or through my personal website, africanbirthright.org, that'll tell you more about the tours. But on HALISI Africa, if you look at the right side, it says Visit Africa. That'll give you a breakdown of the tours, and it'll take you to the other website.